Okay, so what's up everyone, my name's Alex, this is my 6th tutorial in Pygame, and today I'm just going to be talking about how to draw, well not draw, but how to show text on the screen in Pygame, and just, yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing obviously, as always, is to import Pygame, and in this instance we're also going to import sys, which is just other modules that we've required. Then the next thing to do is, from Pygame.locals, import asterisk, which as you know just imports additional modules as well. Now we need to initialize Pygame, so to do that we do pygame.init, opening parentheses and then closing parentheses. Now as always I always call my surface window, so let's do that. So window equals pygame.display.set_mode, then two opening parentheses, and I'll set it to, as always, 640 wide, 600 high. Close that. Then let's create some colours, so I'll have yellow equals 255, 255 and 0. Luckily I have all these written down, so I can just read it off. Red equals 255, comma, 0, comma, 0. And then we'll have green as well, have a light green, equals 0, 255 and 40. Now this is where all the meaty stuff starts, or well, the things to do with font. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a variable called font. So font equals pygame.font.sysfont. Now this is how, this is how you create a system font. What sysfont is, let me find my notes. Sysfont creates a font object from the system's fonts. So what it does is, it just creates a font from the system fonts that is available by Pygame. So there's many of them, there's like quite a few of them. There's things like monospace, what else is there? Monospace, Arial, all those kinds of things. So let's get started, so I can see my notes again hopefully. Is this them? Nope, this them. Okay, so I found my notes. So yeah, so in the system, in the sys fonts parentheses, we just type in the font that we want to use. So I'm going to use monospace, and then close that, and then a comma, and then the size of the font that we want to use. So I'm going to have 40 because it's a good old round number to use. And then I'm going to have another variable. Actually, I'll type in what sysfont means. In the comments, sysfont creates a font object from available Pygame fonts. Now create another variable called surface font, which is equal to font.render. Now this will render the font, and this is where we type in what we want, what type of text we want to show on the screen. So I'm going to put I am salty lad, and then a comma, and then the next thing I'm going to the value is true. Now what this value is, it's something called anti-aliasing, and I've researched it for about 5 minutes or so, and it's mainly used in games, in things called like textures and all that, and it basically just clears out the textures. I'll show an example with it true, I'll show an example with it false. With it true, the text looks a lot cleaner, looks a lot professional, there's no pixels missing, it's all clean and dandy. So I'll show an example when it's true and when it's false, and the next two variables are the actual text color, which I'll set to red, and the next variable value is the background color of the rectangle that we're going to create, so I'll have that to yellow. So the text color is going to be red and the background color is going to be yellow. So I'll have another variable called surface r, because this is going to be surface rectangle, and then which equals surface font dot get underscore rect, meaning that surface font will gain, or surface R more like, yeah, surface R will gain rectangle values. Surface R will gain rectangular values. So it's just things like the X and Y value basically. There's other things like the center, you can, rectangular from the center, you can go upwards and all that, go rectangular values. And then the last thing is surface R, I've just done that, dot center 320, 300. So this is just basically halfway across the screen, halfway down. So from the center of the rectangle will appear from that point and then go outwards. And then the next thing I'll do is fill the window with the green colour, because I like green. And then after this, we do the while true loop as always. While true, colon. Then we need to blit the surface font and the surface rectangle to the screen. Window.blit surface, oh god, surface font, then a comma, and then surface R. Now what this does, it blits this font, and then it just blits that on top of the rectangle. That's all it'll do. And then, as always, for event in Pygame, .event.get. Open and close parentheses, colon, if event.type equals quit, all capitals, pygame.quit, sys.exit, and then we dedent twice back, and put pygame.display.update, just to update the screen so everything shows up. So I'm hoping that this works. I'm sorry though, that was really embarrassing, that was. The problem was, with this, I didn't put an equal sign, so I just left it like that. So when you do surface R dot center, put an equal sign, then put it to equals 320.300. This just means that from the center of the rectangle, the rectangle will be present at 320 pixels wide and 300 pixels down from the top. Now when we print this out, that's what we get. So we have, as you can see, we have red text, a yellow background for the text, and a green background for the surface. Now as you can see, what I said earlier about setting the anti-aliasing value to true, all of it, the text looks clean, it looks proper and everything. It looks in proportion, it looks all nice and everything. So if I set the value to false, look what happens. It becomes all, see, everything's a bit like dirtier, and etc. All the letters, there's like little things sticking out. It's not in place. It's all, some of it's a bit fuzzy. It's not, and setting the anti-aliasing value to true is just a lot better. It just looks a lot cleaner. So true is for anti-aliasing. Looks better when true. I will put this code as well in the description so you can just play around with whatever. So I'll go over the code again. So we import Pygame, initialize Pygame, create the surface, then we define the colors. In this variable we define the font and the size of the font. In this we render the font and create a new variable, and we render what font or what text that we want to print out onto the screen. We also choose what colour we want the text to be and what background colour we want the text to be on, as well as setting the anti-aliasing value there. And then what we do is we give the surface font the rectangular values, and we set surface R to the surface font to get those rectangular values. So surface R is now equal to the surface font. Now we also, since it's rectangular, you can have a center value, and this means from the center of the rectangle will be placed 320 pixels wide from the left and 300 pixels down from the top. So it's basically in the center of the screen. Since 320 is half of 640, well, I think, yeah, it is, yeah. I hope it is. And 300 is half of 600, so that's true. Then we just fill the window with the green colour with window.fill, and then obviously with the while loop we blit the surface font, and we also blit the background or the rectangle as well. And then obviously there we go. So if the user wants to quit, pygame.quit, and then we just update the screen. So yeah, that's it for. It's not too difficult. It's quite interesting because you can use lots of different fonts. You can print lots of different things. It's either doing this or printing out line, doing pygame.draw.line, and you have to do like 50 lines of that just to print out like one word. So this is a lot easier, just using the render function and the sys.font function. I know this has been a long video, and I apologise for that, and I apologise for the error as well, even though it's a stupid error, just putting an equal sign there. But hopefully you've learned something. I know I have, repeating this video about 3 or 4 times. Yeah, I'll put the code in the description. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully you've learned something. If not, put in the comments what you'd like to see more of or whatever. And yeah, thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.